I think this will be a quick little film just to show the bike all finished. Everything's now on it. The only problem with it is there's no lights, and I believe that's probably because the wire, the winding on the, what would you call it, magneto dynamo thing is probably burned out. Apparently that's reasonably common. If I can get it open, I should be able to open it up and pull that apart, and you can rewind them, but that involves taking that cover off and getting the flywheel off. I think I might need a special tool to do that, but this is how the things come out. I wouldn't say it's a perfect restoration, but it's come out fairly clean. You can see where I fixed the rust and the forks by just basically getting rid of as much of the rust as I could and then filling it with, that's basically epoxy, then sanded smooth. The main reason for doing that is you want it smooth down here so it doesn't rip up the seals. Got new mudguard, it's a reproduction fiberglass one, new mounts for all of that, new dust covers. What else? It's just generally had a clean up. The frame was sandblasted and painted, there was no rust in that. Everything else has been cleaned up fairly well. I did rebuild the carburetor, which mainly involved just cleaning it up. That all worked well. I haven't done anything with the engine. The compression on it was really good, so I decided to leave it for now. There's no point doing anything with it till it needs doing, I guess. I did check that the oiler works. The oil tank is behind here, and that all works fine. Fitted a little oil fuel filter there. This doesn't leak, amazingly. The fuel tank was all rusted and all bashed in at the back here to fit a different seat. So I drilled a hole in the bottom and beat all of that out as best I could, and there's quite a bit of filler there to get it smooth, but this is kind of a around the garden beater type bike, so you know it's fine for that. Gave it a coat of paint which is similar to the original colour, but I wasn't trying too hard to match it, and this has been clear coated with 2-pack clear coat in a can, which I wanted to try out. It's proper 2-pack, so it is chemical resistant once it dries, and that stuff's really good. Easy to spray, just came out really nicely, and that's what makes the tank fuel proof on the outside. The inside of it has been coated in red coat fuel tank sealer. It's got new shocks on the rear. I did have to space these out just slightly. It's a hardened washer in here and at the bottom, just to allow it to clear the exhaust in here, otherwise it's very close. This is all the original muffler, everything just cleaned up beautifully. I did fit new brake shoes to the rear. The ones at the front didn't fit very well, so I had to use the original ones, which had a lot of life left in them anyway. I fitted a new brake light switch, which obviously doesn't do anything because the electrics aren't working, so there's a little spring in here. It's a reproduction seat, original rear guard. These are the original grips and things. They're a bit battered on the ends, but they came out okay. Original pedals, not pedals, handles, levers, I guess you call them. Yeah, it's all just been cleaned up. I've put it back as best I can. It's a bit hard to tell where everything's supposed to go. I did have to remake this little bracket here. The other one was all rusted through, but that's how it looks. So it runs well. If we turn it on, this is the choke. Now I'm going to have to try and do this with one hand again. I haven't started it all week, so we will give it a real try and see how well it works. It is in neutral. How's the best way to do this? Here's the switch. If I was smart, I'd set it up on a tripod, of course. Let's see. runs pretty well. I haven't actually tried riding it yet. I should try giving it a ride around the garden, but I've only just finished the thing. It's beautifully clean. I don't want to ride it round while the grass is all still wet and it's all going to get muddy. So I'm going to wait until it dries up a bit. But yeah, that runs really well. I think I may need to put a bit of sealer around here. You can see it's the muffler. It was coming out of here. The smoke's probably because it's clean and because it's a two-stroke, obviously. Like I say, the oiler does work. I made very certain of that. You can see this is the feed from the oil tank, and it comes down. You can see it coming up here. There's a little test you do and you measure the flow rate. That works fine. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how that's come out. Now I have to figure out what I'm going to do with it next. So I don't actually have that much money in it. The parts are cheap compared to the Riley. You know, doing something like this is cheap. So I've no interest in riding on the road. I may keep it. I may sell it and use that to fund another one. I'd quite like to get something a bit more vintage. One of the ones that caught my eye recently was a Velocette, I think it's called. It's an old British bike from the 40s and 50s. Apparently they were quite popular as police bikes. There's actually one of them at the local car museum, an earlier one, and the earlier ones had a gear lever shift. And they're very strange looking bikes. They're very sort of space agey, 50s space age, but they're quite small. They're not big bikes. So I'd love to get something like that to restore, I think. Just for the fun of doing it, really. But yeah, I think I'll leave that there for now.